bright and early at this time of the Sunday morning. But first, the police officers, or some of them, who helped drag down the former Tory Chief Whip Andrew Mitchell, are getting their collars felt again. Police Federation reps met Mitchell after his famous confrontation with officers in Downing Street. He's always denied calling them plebs, says he was stitched up, and the officers from the police union are accused by Mitchell's friends of stitching hard. They met him in his constituency, they got an explanation, and then they told the cameras and the microphones he hadn't given any explanation. Then they demanded his resignation. Only he'd recorded the conversation, and now 2 Federation officers have more explaining to do about their evidence. The committee says it was misled in all sorts of ways, and they want an apology. And on the line is David Davis. He's a former Tory minister, former Shadow Home Secretary. He's Andrew Mitchell's most prominent ally and champion. Good morning to you, David.
Good morning.
What do you make of where we are now? Do you think there's a higher chance that Andrew Mitchell is getting close to vindication, at least establishing that he was stitched up if he was by these Federation officers?
Well, I think the public have pretty much made their mind up on that. I mean, look, the importance of this is not just Andrew. I mean, the police force, the centre of policing, is telling the truth. You know, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, remember. That's what the oath is. They're telling the truth. And here we have police officers who, on the first instance, as we only know because of the tapes, they were unable to tell the truth when they came out of his office in Sutton Coldfield. And then they appear in front of the House of Commons. And you would have thought that they realised that that's almost the same as being in court under oath. And they, again, were unable to tell the truth, either about the actual transcript or indeed in one of them about 13 offences, or not offences, but disciplinary charges to be up on. So they're really, really serious, and I think it will worry most of the public, not just about Andrew. Andrew's a cabinet minister and he's got lots of people like me to defend him. What about everybody else? What about the ordinary kid on the street and so on? They've really got to worry, I think.
Now, even before now, the Independent Police Complaints Commission suggested there appeared to have been a political operation to target Andrew Mitchell as part of the campaign against cuts and working conditions and so on. Does it look to you as if there are now maybe higher chances of some of these officers facing the accusation of gross misconduct, which would mean sacking?
Well, I think that's very likely, and the reason I think that is likely, I mean, I can't preempt what the IPC decides.
But they've sort of given their view already, haven't they?
But Deborah Glass, the outgoing deputy chairman, said she thought it was a case where they should face charges of gross misconduct. She won't preempt the outcome, but it was sufficiently serious they face those charges. And it will now be her successor that makes the decision. It won't actually be a complete rerun of the investigation because the facts are all there. I mean, actually, to be truthful, John, I mean, I've never known a case where the facts are so plain. We've got tapes of what happened before, tapes of what happened during, and tapes of what happened afterwards. So, you know,
but on that, David, those tapes which give it, as you say, an incontrovertible account of what happened between Andrew Mitchell and these Federation officers. If they believed their officers were telling the truth, and you might think they would, that Andrew Mitchell had called officers plebs, if they take that to be the truth, then they might take anything that contradicts that as simply not the truth, or well short of the truth.
Yeah, but that isn't what they said. They said he didn't give an account, you know, and I'm afraid, you know, you need to go. I mean, we could waste time going through word by word, but you know, let your listeners do that for themselves.
Yeah, they said he'd given no explanation.
It's plain, and it's plain also. They made the decision effectively what to do before they got there because they were being given guidance by a PR company who then bragged about having brought down their cabinet ministers. So you know, it's incontrovertible. And the issue here is almost less about that than about how seriously the chief constables take it. If a chief constable says of his officers, well, it's sort of understandable they told lies, or it's sort of acceptable, that's a terrible thing. That's a really terrible thing for British justice.
Just one last one. I know you've got your press this morning.
Yeah.
Another thing which is connected to all of this, the committee, the Home Affairs Select Committee, is very unhappy that one of these officers did refer to Theresa May, the Home Secretary, as that woman, and then tried to deny saying that. And of course you shouldn't tell porkies to MPs or anyone else in this world, but is it a requirement of the job, if you're a policeman, to be respectful and deferential to the Home Secretary at all times. I mean, I don't notice you being deferential to the Home Secretary or anyone else. For that matter.
No, actually, no. The truth be told, I don't think calling her that woman is that big an insult. I'm sure she's had worse. The issue is whether he was willing to accept what he'd actually said.
Yeah.
That's the issue. It's all about honesty. This is all about telling the truth. And if you don't tell the truth, then as a police officer, here's a man, any of them, who can arrest you and me, charge you and me, and then give evidence in court against you and me. And broadly speaking, juries believe police officers when they're sitting in a witness box. And that's why this is so important. It is fundamental to the job of sworn constable that you always tell the truth.
Okay, David Davis, thanks a lot for joining us. Now let's say hello to the panel of MPs sitting here in my